Hey, everyone. Welcome to That Plant Life podcast. I'm Dr. Nic along with
Rachel Renee.
Rachel Renee, and we just want to welcome you to this episode. First, I want to say Happy New Year. This is our first recording in 2025. So, Happy New Year to everyone. We're so excited that you're joining us today. And we are very excited to have our first guest of the year.
Matt, I just want to say we are just beyond excited and happy that you're here with us today. Love the work that you're doing and just who you are in your community. And we're definitely going to get more into that. But we wanted to start out with just hearing, how did you start your journey of loving plants and caring for plants?
Yeah, first off, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here. And in regards to your question, my plant journey started around 2018. Prior to that, I didn't know a lick about plants and didn't have any kind of inclination towards them. But as my mother was battling cancer and eventually passed, one of the things that got me through, in addition to a lot of therapy, one of the things that got me through that experience was plants. She was in the hospital for a few months, and I would spend various nights, most nights at the hospital with her. And when I got home to take a little break, I needed something to do. I was taking some time off of work, and one day I came home and I looked outside, and I just felt like I just needed to be outside. So I saw some weeds in the front yard poking out of the landscape area, and I just went out and started picking them. And then that turned into me ripping up the entire front lawn and re-landscaping it myself. I then moved on to the backyard and created a whole garden back there. Ran out of space in my tiny yard, so I built a 10 foot tall by 10 foot wide living wall with succulents and all kinds of other plants in it. I installed the drip system and everything. It just became an obsession from there. And it was really the only, plant therapy and horticultural therapy was really one of the main things that got me through that experience, the stress, the trauma. So after that, I decided not to go back to my job in tech, and I got a job at a local gardening center, a nursery, and learned everything I could. And I realized this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I then started Planner Day.
Oh,
That is so amazing. I can relate so much to your story. I started a little bit after you and kind of in the same way, like adjusting to being a primary caregiver to a loved one and like looking for something and feeling like, okay, I'm probably going to kill these plants, but let me try this. But it just evolved from there, and I can truly appreciate your story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And just to see how everything evolved from there. Like, how would you say that experience helped you the most? Like, in terms of being so therapeutic, like, what was it about caring for plants that was so therapeutic for you?
It was really just caring for something and watching it grow. I mean, we had ornamental plants in the yard and a vegetable garden. So really just going outside and picking tomatoes and making a salad, understanding, what the different pests were and how to keep a healthy plant. Digging my hands in the dirt was probably the number one thing that was just so cathartic, and pulling the weeds out, making sure you got all the roots with them, and just kind of really being able to see that immediate satisfaction and the fruits of your labor.
yeah, that is amazing. I love your story. One thing that you said was you stopped your job in tech and started working at a nursery, and that's when you really knew this is what you wanted to do forever, which is amazing. So what can you tell us if you have a business now that you're
Hmm.
that you're running, and it's Planner is
Hmm.
the name
Yep.
of the business.
Yeah.
Planter Day is the name of Matt's business. So tell us about how it developed and how you realized that this is what you want to do forever, and what your business really entails.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really evolved into, I mean, I wanted to launch the business right away. So I started with a mobile kind of concept. So I bought an old trailer from an electrician who was retiring. He used the trailer for his business. And I renovated it to start my business. So, we were happy to learn about each other's journeys and whatnot. And I was happy to give that old trailer a new life. So I renovated this trailer, hitched it to the back of my truck. And the weekend that I was supposed to launch the business and go out to Lake Merritt in Oakland and sell plants on the sidewalk, that was when the shelter in place order was put into place for COVID. So I was stuck at home with all these plants, didn't know what to do. Eventually got the idea to just start selling online. I knew nothing about e-commerce or online sales. I started sending pictures of plants to friends, through email and whatnot and Instagram. And then eventually had a website and an order form. And when it was safe, started doing mobile events at breweries and coffee shops around Oakland and Berkeley. And then it was, we felt, me and my wife, she's been with me since day one of the business. She's like the photographer and everything, and now she runs the day-to-day operations, which is, just really special for us as a family. But we have our own store. We have 3 employees. The best thing about the business for me is connecting with community, though. We learned that through doing different pop-ups. And one thing that my mother taught me, my mother was an entrepreneur. She was a small business owner. And one thing she always told me was help starts at home, meaning that you need to take care of yourself, your mental and physical health. You need to take care of your community, the people closest to you and around you, so that we can all thrive. And that really resonated with me in starting a mission driven business because,
Mm.
I want to spread to people the joy and the healing that plants have given me. And um, I just, a lot of people there are so many adversities to seeking care, seeking self-help and therapy. There are cultural barriers, and I just want people to know that there are other forms of therapy out there. So
Yeah.
horticultural and plant therapy. There's art, there's cooking, there's gardening, there's clay making, there's floral arrangements, there's nature hikes. I mean, so many different ways. So, this was the way that I could share my healing journey with the community. And, we donate our space every week. We have 4 events a month. With different workshop hosts who each teach their craft so that we can continue that learning, that knowledge in a healing space. So people come with intention. One other thing I'll say is that when I was 9, just before my 10th birthday, I lost my father to suicide. One of the things that we do is promote mental health resources. And we're a community partner to the Crisis Support Services of Alameda County. They answer our local 988 National Suicide Hotline, but we donate a certain amount of proceeds, a certain percentage of proceeds every month to them. And we promote each other's services just so that everybody knows that there is something out there. There's someone out there to help.
That's so amazing. It's beautiful. I love the way not only you're passionate about reaching out and showing people, really dealing with the issue of access. And we know that there's issues of mental health access for people. And as you said, stigma around seeking help at times, but also just the way that you are connecting different providers in the community and providing that space for them, which is amazing. What are some of the providers that you have come in to work with people? What types of things do they talk about?
Well, there's the Northern California Horticultural Therapy Association. They're a group of therapists who teach gardening primarily in educational settings and prisons. They're someone who has contributed to some learnings at the store. There have been events in collaboration with local public libraries like the Berkeley Library. We have artists, local artists who are part of our community who come in and teach painting, clay workshops, terrarium building, cookie decoration. So again, all these themes they may seem like a fun event, but the deeper meaning is really about healing.
Absolutely. And that's definitely something that Rachel and I are passionate about, and one of the reasons why we wanted to start the podcast is because we recognize and understand that some of these, like everything that you mentioned, has this kind of creative process to it or creative bent to it. And I am an artist, and I love that this is getting more attention on how powerful it can be and how healing it can be to use artistic processes, artistic experiences to move through healing or move through grief journey. So we're just so excited to have you here. And can you tell us again what city are you? Did you say Oakland?
Oakland, yeah,
Oakland.
that's where
Okay.
Planetary is was born and is located.
Planner Day is in Oakland, and it's an actual store where you sell plants, but you have this space where people can come in. Is that how it?
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. We have a storefront on College Avenue in the Rockridge Business District. And, when people want to, when we donate the space to various providers, we have everything on wheels, like all our tables. So we roll them into the back office. It's a tiny little store. It's 700 square feet, probably less. So we Tetris everything in the back. We bring out a table and some chairs, and people do their thing, do what they do best.
That's so awesome. And so powerful that it's only 700 square feet and your reach is so far. I can feel that the reach is far and that you're making a deep impact in your community, which is amazing. Absolutely
Yeah,
amazing.
thank you. It's a privilege, you know. We've been voted best plant shop in Oakland 3 years in a row, and
Awesome.
just
Congratulations.
thank you, thank you. It's always it never gets old, but every time the community votes for us, I'm just so surprised. Like us, how do people know about us? Yeah, I'm just so thankful and humbled by it. But I'm also humbled to be surrounded by people like yourselves who have love plants, are artists, do the hard work, like yourself, Dr. Nicole, and, doing the actual therapy work as a provider. Also Rachel, just your healing journey with plants as a caretaker. I so identify with that. And so, really happy that plants and mental health have brought us all together.
Yes,
Such
absolutely.
a beautiful thing. And like what Nicole was saying, like you've also presented such a creative way to respond to grief and loss that people may not have considered, you know. And it's just good to present those things to people like, hey, there may be something that you can, take hold of that can help get you through this experience that, they just may have never even thought of before. And it could be something that turns out to be so amazing, like what has flourished in your life as a result of it. And Nicole knows I'm super passionate about stories. So I'm interested in also your journey as an entrepreneur because I know there's a lot of challenges that come with that. So I just wonder if you have some thoughts in mind about maybe a time when you questioned what you were doing, what you were launching, and then maybe a moment where you're like, yeah, this is it.
Gosh, I could go on and on for years about that. Every year is a journey of ups and downs.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that during the first few years, February will mark 5 years in business. So, they say as a small business, if you make it past the 5 year mark, you should be, maybe not good, but in business, still in business for a while, like in a business vein. But I've, it's been such a wild ride because I've gone back and forth to work, um, and I do have boundaries for myself. I want the work. If I'm gonna, I told my wife if I'm gonna go back to work, I want it to be meaningful. I want it to be mission driven. And I'm so privileged to say that, during my I went back to work. Well, I'll take a step back. When we opened the store, my wife was a teacher and I was working at Headspace or Ginger, a mental health company. And we kind of decided like, okay, who's going to quit their job to run the shop and be there full time? It ended up being that I was able to work remotely from the store. Well, so I was in the back of the house while my wife was in the front of the house, and we were there basically 7 days a week for like 2.5 years, just us. But I kind of, there was like a time where I was at work when we first started, and I took various vacations just to kind of build out certain things at the store and open the store and whatnot. And then there was like a 1.5 year period where I wasn't working, and it was just us working at the shop full time. And it posed a lot of challenges because there's only so much at a small retail plant store that we could pay ourselves, and with a baby on the way due in April, and a mortgage, and a lot of the things that we needed to grow the business. To this day, I still haven't taken a paycheck. So I opted to go back to work. I work at another mental health company now called Spring Health. And, you know, it worked out, and it was meant to be, because now I can say that I support mental health, in my 9 to 5 and my 5 to 9, so to speak. But the moment, there are so many moments where I knew that I have to keep going. I have to keep going, no matter if there was no paycheck, no matter if, we had a, slow month. But when people come to the store and they say, they love what we do, or walking in here feels like a warm hug, or we have just, special community members who come in and share stories with us because they know that they can walk into the store and cry, and we'll be there to offer them a shoulder. You can't do that at a Starbucks or a Home Depot, or you're not going to find healing events at Target. Being part of the small business community is really the fabric of many cities and communities, and I will, fight to keep the dream alive till I can hopefully pass off the store to my little baby.
Yes, baby day, baby
She
day.
wants to. She
Beautiful.
wants
Yes,
My gosh, I'm in tears. Thank you.
we're both crying like, oh my gosh, and
So
baby day's gonna
beautiful.
be here. It is. It really is beautiful. It's amazing. Like, as you're talking about people coming in and feeling like they're being embraced with a warm blanket, and being able to share their emotion and know that it's a safe space to do that. I'm thinking about, like, I have that vision, as a similar vision to you as well. I've been talking about it forever, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's doing what I want to do.
That's good.
Yeah,
Good.
I love it so much, and I'm so encouraged to hear your story, and hear how people are responding in your community. It's really beautiful, and definitely encouraging me to, like, stop talking and start getting some action steps out there to do that where I am. So thank you so much for sharing that. And another thing, as you were talking, that I thought about was that a lot of our listeners that we kind of have promoted to are women, usually over 40. And so in that age group, there's usually people are either oftentimes they're coming into, like, that empty nest time period, or they're at this period where they're making a transition in their career, or they're kind of like thinking about entrepreneurship, or I just don't want to be in this career and I want to do something else. And I feel like your story is just such a beautiful example of how that is possible. Like, it is so possible to pivot, and to really do what's in your heart to do, and to follow your passions. And like you said, there were times when you were like, and you went back to work, and you can't, and I would like people to understand too that when you start a venture like this, going back to work doesn't mean that you failed at what you're doing. Because I think that people have this idea in their mind sometimes about, oh, I started this and this is what I want to be doing, but I have to go back and do this. And that's it's really just your journey. It's all about what you need to do for yourself, for your family, for the business, to keep things moving. And it doesn't, like, we can't really compare ourselves and compare our journey to other people's journeys, but just recognizing that every journey looks different, and there's no failure in having to pivot and having to, redirect what you're doing, because you're still moving. Like, you're still moving. And as long as you're still moving and you still have your plan with your goals in sight, and you're still moving forward toward them, it's fine no matter what the path looks like for you. So thank you for being that example and sharing your story of entrepreneurship with us. It's amazing. Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for listening. And something I always tell folks is that life is long, but it's also very short. What I explain when I say that is that life is too short to just be unhappy and not do something that you feel comfortable in your skin with.
Yeah.
But life is long in the sense that you can do one career for 15 years and then switch to another career for 20 years and then switch to something else for another 15 years or 30 years, provided you are healthy, which goes back to what my mom taught me about
Yes.
keeping yourself healthy. But life is long enough to be able to pivot, if you truly, truly have a mission in mind and in your heart. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you've also shown how launching out and doing something that you're passionate about, you're meeting a need, a real need, not just for yourself, but for the communities. I mean, it's like sometimes we think, oh, this is just me, but if it's a need that we have personally, someone else out there is feeling it as well. So I'm so thankful that you're doing what you're doing. And I also love that you're doing it with your family. Like, that's just so amazing. And another thing that I think communities need to see husbands and wives, they need to see families, people doing things together in harmony and unity. And I just think that's so beautiful.
Yeah, gosh, it's a dream come true. I mean, if my daughter takes over the store and the family business, I'll be very proud. If she wants to do something else, that's totally fine too. But my mom, I grew up in my mother's business, running around the yard and eventually being her delivery driver, then being her bookkeeper, then being her, pretty much assistant, helping her run errands. But I was just there, as part of the journey with her, kind of tagging along this whole time. While I was annoyed as a teenage boy, everything I learned from my upbringing is kind of infused in the store. And without my wife, she's the real. I can come up with some okay ideas and whatnot and implement them, but she's just so detail oriented, creative, process driven that she like is able to operationalize everything and just make it work. So she's the real reason why we're successful today.
That's
That's
awesome.
great.
Shout out to her.
Yes,
For real.
Yumi is her name.
You, me.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. So Matt, before we go, we know you're super, super busy, but we also wanted to know, like, what are some of your favorite plants right now?
Gosh, so two of my favorite plant species are snake plants and dracaenas or dragon trees. So that right here, this is a dracena. That's a dracena right here. I have five more like 7 foot tall ones in the living room that I promised I would get rid of, but not gonna do it. And snake plants, I'm staring at three on my windowsill over here. This is a really big one right here. They're just really easy to take care of. Both of these are just really drought tolerant, low light, and good air purifying plants. But my favorite plant, I'll show you. 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a Sansevieria copper tone, and it's from my aunt's garden. My mother's from the Philippines, so I have a lot of family members there. And this is from my aunt's garden in the Philippines. She's a big plant person. She like sells plants on Facebook Marketplace. She's got a huge rare plant collection, and she snipped this off one of her mother plants to give to me. I I I stuck it in a salad bowl and put it in my suitcase and hope that customs wouldn't find it.
That's so hilarious.
Love it.
But she, like my mother, she recently passed from cancer, and I have a small collection of plants that she's given me that we took back with us, and I'm so lucky in that this plant means a lot to me because we were, you know, in part because we were able to see her 2 weeks ago, 4 days before she passed. And she was, you know, she was at home. She wasn't feeling well. She wasn't really taking visitors, but she wanted to talk about plants in her final days. And, you know, she, after we left, we had a few conversations about our gardens and what we're growing. And after we left, her kids, my cousin said, like, we haven't seen her like that in months. So, you know, it was really special for her to be able to talk about plants with a plant person, and that brought a tear to my eye. And you know, it was a privilege to be able to say goodbye and keep, you know, our loved ones' memories alive through these relics, you know, these plants. So it's really special.
Oh my goodness. Matt, you have brought me to tears so many times today. Oh my
Same,
goodness. But
same.
yeah, it's amazing. I love it. Rachel and I have talked about the power of plants and the connection to our history and our loved ones. And so, I mean, we're like kindred spirits. So we're so happy to have had you today. Absolutely.
Yes,
Amazing.
Yeah.
yes. How can people find you, Matt? Your store, online, anywhere that people can connect with you?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So on online, planterday.com, all one word. On Instagram is where we get a lot of our inquiries and communications, and we respond to everything. So planter.day on Instagram. Those would be the two main ways. And you know, the store is open 7 days a week in Oakland. So, you know, they can folks can Google or just come on to the Rockridge Business District in Oakland. It's a nice little area, a lot of shops and restaurants around. But I also want to thank you both for having me. And if there's, you know, if Dr. Nicole, if you ever want to start that plant shop, or you know, if y'all ever want to do a live podcast, you know, recording in the store, if you're ever in the Bay Area,
We do. We do.
We're coming. That's it.
yeah. Although you may not need to. Everyone's got so many plants. Got more than me.
Yeah, we don't care. We want to see your plants.
Yes, yes, please do. You are welcome anytime.
Goodness, Matt, it's just been so amazing talking with you and just seeing how you honor your family and you're just going after your passion. Oh my gosh, like I think I'm going to be in tears for a bit after this. It's just been great having you. Um, I'm just so happy we get to share this conversation with people and to everyone who joined us for this episode. Please connect with us on That Plant Life podcast across social media. Like, share, and subscribe, all the things. And just remember to stay rooted in wellness. And thank you so much.
Thank you.